So these ones here are very dry. That part there's attached like that. That's already dried up overnight. Any seaweed, liquid. This one promotes root growth, reduces transplant shock. So I'll just put this one here. Best leaving it for at least an hour. Might as well drop it in there. The rest of these ones here, I'm gonna leave them as is, and I'm just gonna pot them up, and I'll just show you how I pot them up. Hello there, my name is Liz, a self-confessed succulent addict. Welcome to my channel, Growing Succulents. I have a big bowl, and this is probably about 3 inches deep. This is a salad bowl from Coles that I drilled holes, so you can see there's lots of holes in this pot. Hello, there you go. So you need a lot of holes in them so it can breathe or air can circulate. And also one thing I forgot is that because this thing now, if it sits on the table, there is no room for the air to come through and sort of circulate through the soil, making it susceptible for fungus and root rotting. So to avoid that, or to prevent that, we're gonna give it some feet. This is just a rubber stick-on thing, so just make sure that this is clean. There you go, that's already clean. Just any dust particles, that's all. Okay, let's go find a spot. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is good enough. Now if I put it there, I can see a little bit of gap. So you can see now that I can put some, whereas before there was no gap at all. But if it's still too low for my liking, I double it up. So I put another one. So that increases the height, allowing for more air to circulate under the pot or our soil. There you go. I'm just gonna see. Yep, this whole thing can go in there and hide, and you've got air space now. Now this one is now ready to be potted up. So I have a piece of old lace curtains that I've been chopping off. So now I need to cut up a piece. So I have a piece now to suit this one, and chop it off. That will go on the other one. So this one now, okay, now we just have to make sure it fits our little circular thing here. So center, there you go. That is perfectamundo. And I just go cut it up. That's good enough. Voila, there goes our little carving thing now. That's all done. Now I have bigger pieces of decomposed granite. You can use any rocks to just line the bottom. That also keeps our little lace curtain in place, so it doesn't move about. Okay, so you can still see through the curtains. Yeah. Okay, now we'll put some soil. I'm using my Master Succulent Soil Mix. Just to level it off. That's already level, and that's quite loose. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tap, 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 because if I water this whole soil is just gonna sink. So I'm gonna get ahead and preempt it sinking. And so now I've got some, okay, that's fertilizer over there. So what I like to do with this one is cover it with coconut coir on the surface, and I will tell you why later on. So just put a layer about 1/2 inch, and we do the same. Okay, that's roughly good enough. And I am going to take my Tinkerbell. So my Tinkerbell doesn't have any roots yet. So this is just a cutting, and I removed a couple of the leaves in the bottom, so you can see I forcibly remove a couple of them. So I'm gonna put this one in here, and I'm gonna create a little hollow in there. So now remember, this is my master succulent soil mix, and this Tinkerbell is still sort of sensitive, so the soil that I have is moist but not wet. So you can see that my soil will still sort of clump up, but it still be very loose because of a lot of the coconut coir that's in it. So now I'm gonna plant this up in here. Okay, so the stem can have contact with the master succulent soil mix, and the leaves, we're gonna put some small pieces of dressing. This is just small bits, so you can see how small this is, around 3 to 10 millimeter pieces or size of my granite. You can use Mifflin stone as well. So now this section is going to be the Tinkerbell section. Put some more there. Okay, now I plucked a couple of leaves, as I mentioned earlier, and I also wrote leafed September 1, so this is now the 2nd of September, so I plucked it yesterday. So now this one will have to go into here on the edges. So I've got 3 Tinkerbells. Now I'm gonna have to work on the cubic frost. This is the cubic frost. So cute, look at that. Oh! Now this one, the same thing, but this one I've shown you how to do that, but then now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the whole lot. The dressing is just to stop contact between the mature plants now and the bottom leaves of the mature plants, because if they sit on something, when you water it and then it gets wet or something like that, and if it's sitting on the soil, even if it's coconut coir, the plant will have a higher chance of rotting. So to prevent that, I use top dressing, or put some rocks or granite in this case as a top dressing for my succulent planter. Why put some coconut coir and you're going to cover it? Because I have 2 types of plants here. One is a cutting and the other one is leaf grown. So once I finish with this one, I'm not going to water this, but in the process for say about 2 weeks. And what happens is that will give time for the baby leaves to emerge, if they're going to emerge. So within 2 weeks to 4 weeks they should be emerging, but some plants take longer. Again, some do take like 6 months or a year to emerge, depending on the season. Since it's already springtime here in Australia, this is a good time for Echeverias to get tickled and grow. So now this one is just going to sit on top of my granite for now until they get tickled and grow. But when they do grow, they start forming roots, I could just easily tweak it like this. Okay, I'll put it in here as an example. I could just open it up and let them touch the coconut coir. That way they can have a drink. So the coconut coir can get wet or moist, and they can drink from that. Therefore, because they require, the babies require a lot of moisture, whereas the mom can rot on you. Okay, so that's the trick. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same with the other plant. So this one, the PVN silk, I'm gonna do the opposite side here, and the same drill. Cubic frost I'll do here, and I'll put the label and a couple of the leaves as well on top. And Monroe over here, the variegated Monroe, has got very, very, very tiny, almost gone roots. So this one now, I'm still I'm just gonna remove this because it's sort of, hang on, can you see that? It sort of protrudes. That's gonna absorb a lot of, there you go. I'm gonna get one, another one, two leaves to propagate because that's already black. I'm just worried that it might die on me. So even this one now, I'll remove that. This is for security. So now this one, you say it's fresh, why put it there? Because I've got the coconut coir. The coconut coir actually is sort of quite dry. So that one can go there. And that will not rot. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Where are you now? Monroe. And that's it. I still got plenty of room to grow. So first of all, I've got some pots here. I've already chosen my pots. Now this one I've got first off, okay, Compton Carousel. I also made a label for them so that way I will know what they are. Not that it's difficult to tell which one is a Compton Carousel. So this plant has got a Diva reputation, which means it's difficult to grow and easy to kill, apparently. So, because I haven't grown them before, but this is my first time and that's why I don't want to kill it. So I chose in a pot wherein it's quite deep for the size of the plant and it's got a big hole in the bottom. So I drilled that hole, so I got the pot with no hole. And this used to be a potpourri pot, so which means for perfume, some dry herbs or something like that, rose petals, scented things. Now this is a perfect Compton Carousel pot because Compton Carousel, I would assume, so a lot of people kill them because maybe it lacks air circulation, so it doesn't really hurt whether they get plenty of air circulation or not. So it's better to be on the safe side that just plant it in a pot wherein it can get a lot of air circulation and also a wide mouth pot. So this pot is quite big for the plants. So it still have, you can see, plenty of room to move about. The rest of this pot, I'm going to put this away because this is what I'm going to use now. Putting some coarse or bigger pieces of granite. This one's the same. You already saw that earlier. That what I've done to this pot anyway. So I just glued on a couple of lace curtains. I think I forgot to mention that, so you can see with a glue stick, and melted some glue stick and put it there. Now I'm gonna use, for this one, I have to put that away, and I am going to get some Master Succulent soil mix, like about 1 scoop, put it there, and I'm gonna get half a scoop of my smaller pieces of granite. There you go, and put it there. Hang on. There you go. It's 50%. There you go. Yeah, that's about 50%. And I'm gonna mix it all up. After mixing it all up, just to make sure, yep, we'll put some into my pot. And tap, 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 tap. Need a bit more. That's for the soil. And for the top, I'm putting some dressing. Okay, so there you go. You can see that that's all topped up, and I am going to put a hole in the middle, and as I wriggle it around, some of the granite goes inside. That is perfect for creating an environment for the Compton Carousel to breathe, so it's not sitting on wet soil if not necessary. There you go. And The Compton Carousel, I already know that this is Compton Carousel anyway, so I will still put a label in the bottom of the pot. Now 1 Compton Carousel potted up, yay! Excellent. I don't know what happened to spring, but we just had rain for the last 2 days and it is freezing cold. My Compton Carousel is full of water at the moment. Look at that. It's beading. It's got water on the surface. And do I look worried? Yes, I am. I'm just hoping it doesn't rot. It's been 5 days since I looked at you while you were still wet and soggy. But look at you now. Okay, I'll put you up here. So this is now 5 days later. She's all nice and dry. So she's still all nice and healthy and still got a dry leaf down in the bottom there. But otherwise, she is beautiful in every single way. Okay, Compton Carousel. So the rain doesn't hurt her. But also, if you notice, there's also feet on the pot. So it's important to have feet on the pot. And I am putting her here where it's sort of overhead covering. And she's right in the center where she ain't gonna get wet anymore. Now, as far as the cuttings bowl. Now, check out our Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell have always been looking well. And the leaves are dried up, but no babies yet. So she's still looking healthy. And the cubic force here has got 1, 2, 3 leaves. And she's also looking perked up and not limpy or anything. Monroe. Monroe is showing some life. So those red tips there, that tells me that every single one of those leaves is going to strike. And of course that one is just sitting there. We'll see if the roots has grown. Nothing yet, but the fact that it's holding on to one of that piece of rock there, that means it's still alive. So it's still black. Whether the rest of the leaves are gonna fall off or not, that is still, we'll have to wait and see. Now I have 1 leaf, actually I've got 2 leaves of the Compton Carousel that's all dried up now. So this is the second one that's dried up. And PVN, Silk Variegated, is also alive, still alive. Now, a lot of people who has cuttings would normally plant this in single pots. In my experience, small cuttings like this, like very small cuttings, especially if they're still young like that, they're best planted with the other cuttings. So if you have more than 1 cutting, so if you have 2, I advise that you put them in the same pot. They seem to communicate with each other and saying, I'm lonely, I'm all alone by myself. And a lot of times they tend to die, well, on me anyway, if they're still really, really young when taken as a cuttings. But when they're a little bit bigger and have some roots, they have a better chance of growing. So that's just my tip for you guys. And anyway, you wouldn't want to be planted. You wouldn't want to be staying on your own as well. You would want some company. And the plants, I find, are the same. They're also very sociable creatures. There's a study that was done by this German scientist saying that they can communicate with each other. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I'm not taking that risk. But anyway, guys, that is my update for this plant, and the next update will be in a couple of months when they've grown a little bit. So just before, at the end of spring, maybe is better. So I'm not gonna show you this one, or actually you can have a preview of the next video. That's now rehydrated. Look at all the roots. The lemon and lime has already got roots. Where did you go, Bessie? Look how cute. I hate pots like this. And I have many succulents died from using this pot. Ionium in general, they love water. They like moisture, but they don't like getting wet. Now the roots, look at the roots. Although they love water, that doesn't mean you're just gonna drown them. Oh, little roots, like white roots coming out. Rehydrated with seaweed. So just plain seaweed.